Good morning, and welcome to the very first To The Point program of the week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Those of you on GBN Television, channel 7, 11, and 20. Those of you on the GBN Television Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, and of course the loyal listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9. Good morning, everybody. This morning in studio is the second Monday of the month, and as usual on this day of the week, we facilitate the National Disaster Management Agency. And this morning I have in studio with me to my immediate right Antonio Joseph, to his right Angel Augustine, and they are both members of the Youth Emergency Action Committee. We'll give you more details shortly. And then to my extreme right is the Public Relations Officer of the National Disaster Management. I go to see Democratic Congress. What take me? Is what really take me there? Let me start over. PRO of the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, Oslin Crosby. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Blossom. Thank you so much for having us.
No problem at all. Always have to keep the folks updated and informed as to what is happening.
Yes.
So this morning, the two youngsters in the midst, the young people, also we're no longer young people, you know?
Blossom, I actually stay away from making the comment now.
Hey, it just occurred to me as we sit.
Oh, it has, because we sit among them and we feel old, right?
Okay, all right, let me control myself. Let me start.
I think we need to, yes. Let's go.
The two individuals from the Youth Emergency Action Committee. Good morning, Antonio and Angel.
Good morning.
So give us some more details about what this committee is all about before we get into some of the activities and so that you've been holding.
Okay, so YAC stands for Youth Emergency Action Committee, and
bring the mic a little closer.
There we go. Community-based youth group. So basically what we do is we educate and recruit young people on disaster preparedness and disaster management, and we also educate people on disaster management and preparedness.
How did this group come about, and how did both of you become members of this committee?
This group came about, I think they only had one branch in the Caribbean. I think it was only Jamaica that had a branch in the Caribbean, and they decided to, the Catholic funders, they decided to have different branches right throughout the Caribbean so that, they could band together when they have disasters and prepare each other. And, well, I became a member through a friend, and she recommended that I join. I didn't want to join because I felt like I didn't have enough time to be involved in this and to be going to school, and but it worked out, so I'm here right now.
Yeah, and I also joined through a friend. Yeah.
So what, even though you probably had your reservation, what encouraged you to join and be an active member, because here you are representing the organization?
Well, upon joining YAC, doing different trainings and stuff, I realized that there's a lot of opportunities for young people in terms of education and things like that. It's because we young people, we get to learn a lot of different skills in terms of first aid, like light search and rescue and things like that. So you have a lot of opportunities and things in YAC. Yeah.
Angel?
At the beginning for me it was kind of like a self-betterment kind of thing. I wanted to, just be a better person. I just didn't want to sit at home, and then I was like, you know what, let me just, use leisure to, go out and learn new things. And then I realized that we could actually help persons, educate them. A lot of things people didn't know about disasters and preparing themselves for disasters, they get to learn it through us. So it feels nice to educate people when they don't know.
How long have you both been members of YAC?
Well, I have been a member of YAC. I joined last year around June, maybe. Last year around June, yeah.
I joined around the same time. We're both kind of young members, but we've been involved for the past year very much.
Yep.
And what are some of the activities that you've participated in?
Well, we have participated in first aid trainings. Recently we did a training up in Guave with NADMA. We did a training up in Guave with what?
A drill.
Yeah, a drill. With the Paul de la Motte School and the daycare, St. Patrick Daycare. Yeah.
And what did you both get from that experience?
Well, we got to help people, like the youngsters, in disaster preparedness. Like, so we got to teach them how to cover and roll, cover and hold below a table in case of a earthquake and things like that, and how to evacuate from a building neatly and
Orderly.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were very interested in, getting to know what it would be like if an earthquake suddenly happens. So them learning what to do before it happens is a really good thing to witness, because a lot of them are really excited, because it's like, what if an earthquake actually happen? We know what to do. So I talked to a few of them. A few of them didn't know what was going on, but a few of them did actually understand, and they knew what to do again if it actually happens.
So actually being a part of this organization, how important do you think it is for young people to participate in activities or organizations, committees like this?
I'd say it's very important, because it not only helps you as a person because of the trainings and so much different things you get involved in. You get to know different people, you get to understand a lot about different people as well. And so as you grow in the group, you get to, I guess, not only help yourself but help others, and in a very big way, I should say.
Yeah, well, basically what she said, it also helps like you to help other people in case of a disaster,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oslin, YAC is a stakeholder of NADMA, and what role does this play in helping NADMA in its action plan to dealing with disasters?
Blossom, again, I say good morning to all your listeners and viewers. And of course, I am happy that I'm accompanied by two young people involved in disaster management today. It speaks to succession planning. It speaks to tomorrow for disaster management here in Grenada. It speaks to a safer future. And it also shows the interest or the many opportunities, one, and two, what it means. I think it's a true reflection of what it means to just be human. We are here as human beings to help others, right? That is our primary duty on this earth, to help others. This organization, NADMA, and that is how I see it also as an institution, helps you help humanity. Disaster management is all about helping people. It's about helping people in their time of need, be it before, during, or after a hazard might have affected us. If we can have more of our young people in Grenada get involved in YAC, then it means, therefore, that I'm sure the Prime Minister, the entire government team, whomever it is, feels more secure in knowing that tomorrow, our tomorrow, is more secure. Because it therefore means, Blossom, that the many initiatives that we speak of wanting volunteers, the many things that we speak about our community getting more involved in our disaster management framework and structure, that would not be a concern. Because if from the smallest child you understand your role in this process, or just your role, just your responsibility to humanity, then you don't have any selling to do. They will just come. And with that, it therefore means that how we grew up, our community, that community extended life that we grew up knowing, that we have nothing to do, we have no books to write again about our experience as children. It means therefore that it would come to us naturally. We would never lose it. So it's even bigger than just disaster management, responding in times of need, preparing people, but it also speaks to us as Caribbean people, Grenadians, how we grew up, what we know, always helping each other, because that is what disaster management does. And it is one of the things that at NADMA we pride as it relates to being involved, or the YAC team being involved with NADMA. Caritas, which is the Catholic Church Relief Services, is the founding fathers of this YAC, this young people in disaster management group in the region. As Angel would have said, it started off in Jamaica. It was the only place you had one. Now we have a vibrant group in Grenada. If you look throughout the island, you would see that YEAC. Remember a couple of years ago when I said, what is this? Mm-hmm. Until you get to the bottom of it and you understand the real reason, the true mandate behind this, and how important it is as it relates to the disaster management process and a future for disaster management in Grenada. So the church, by all means, we say thank you for this, because we also understand the important role that the churches play in our relief and disaster process. When things happen, when we had Ivan, the amount of relief items that came through our churches, Blossom, we know of it, and the Catholic Church is one of our pioneering institutions as relates to that. Our Adventist church is also another one that we can speak to. And one of the things that we understand in this process is that the institutions that are already established, you don't need to rewrite the will. They are there. The people are there. The institution is already a formal one. You walk through them and you can get a lot more done. Cooperation through these entities make our work at NADMA as a coordinating unit a lot easier. So YAC over the years would have certainly made a mark in what we do and how we do it. Plus, on what we recognize in the region now, with all the conferences and so that you're invited to, there is always that important youth element that these organizers are asking for. Last year, we had one of them going off to our conference, the CDIMA, the Comprehensive Disaster Management, CDM conference out there in St. Martin. There is always in that, I remember we had a number of news stories out on it, there's always that important youth element where they get to go attend the conference, have a voice, present, be able to meet in caucus with our big policymakers and share their ideas. As we realize exposure will help in their growth and development, and what it would also do to, it would give them a vision that it is not just you coming and assisting in Gov, but it can take you outside of this land. And outside of this, once you're exposed more, then you learn more, you can give more, you can give back more. And that is what YAC is giving us the opportunity to do. When I sit here and I listen to them speaking as to some of the opportunities that they see that are available through YAC, I mean, you just want to give up some of your time. It is one of the best ways that you can do it, as Angel would have said. You learn, and this is life skills. Mm-hmm. You learn it, right? You may not share it, but you will need it at some point. Mm-hmm. So you realize that it is not just for you. Once you know things like that, you will share it with others. And that's what I always say. Disaster management is a lot broader than what we see it to be. It's not as simple as it looks. It's not the surface. It's very, very deep. And it takes us along. You at home, a fire start. You don't know what to do. Everybody in the home, including yourself, can perish. Simple things. Our young people know it. You sit on the block or you're outside on the road just hanging with a friend. It happened in the company of them. You can do something. Mm-hmm. Our YAC team are exposed to first aid care, initial care, first responders, maybe on the road and there's a bus accident. They know what to do. They have been exposed to medical training. They have been doing a number of exercises. So there's an earthquake. We had a tremor the other night. It's frightening a lot because we have been having a lot of earth movement. What should I do? Angel have siblings. She'll teach them. When her sibling know they're going to school, they will share it with others. One person tell the other. Mm-hmm. That is how information shares, mm-hmm. and that is how we make a difference in our communities, in our lives in general. And in all of this, we have Yaka this morning to speak about that. But we at NADMA are also preparing for our annual tsunami exercise, right, Caribbean Wave 2020. And this year we're taking it to the western side of the island, to the western corridor. So we would have been in St. Andrew, in St. Patrick, now we come down to the west, and it's a wide area for us to exercise. Every year, it's the drill. It involves evacuation, where we usually move most of our schools, which is where it's an institution where there's a lot of students, and we don't want any one principal or teacher to be responsible for the wards under their care. And we always target our schools because we know that is where one of our vulnerable groups are. And for Caribbean over the years, we've been targeting our homes, or geriatric homes, our schools, and our school for special education, as we may have people there that may be mobile. How do we move them if something were to happen? Right, so we're taking the exercises here to the western corridor. So we'll be doing Victoria, Gov, and Grand Mall area. We'll be coming almost right down to St. George's, because that is our western corridor, and we know it is one of our exposed corridors, because that is where we get to see the sea. Seeing the sea. We know with that hazard, seeing the sea is not something that you cherish, because it comes with its special requirements, of course, special concerns also. So in Victoria, we'll be moving our secondary school. So we have St. Mark's Secondary that we'll be evacuating in St. Mark. Bonaire Government, the School for Special Education, our preschool, will be evacuating. And some may ask, why Bonaire Government? It's not even close to the sea, but look at how close it is to the river. Any waterway that's available for tsunamis, they will use it to come in. The water, that rush of water, it will use that established waterway to come inland. And the school is very close to the river. So it is within the hazard zone is what we would consider. So if this were to happen, what should the students, teachers, staff, and students at the Bonet Government School do? St. Mark's Secondary is right there. It may be on a little incline, but it's too close for comfort. It is still well within the hazard zone. And that is something that we recognize. I remember one of our announcers asking me, why it is then you think that we are a volcanic island, quite mountainous? Why should we be worried about tsunamis? But as I said, when you're on Osprey and you're going to Carriacou, look at from the time you leave our protected harbor and the Carenage, pay attention. Where are our homes? Our mountains are free, you know. All our homes are on the coastal, down on the coast, very close to the sea. So with that being the concern, it's important that we know what we should do when there's a tsunami. And it's quite simple. All you need to do an assessment of where you live and identify the highest point from your home. Not just from your home, but also where you may work. And know that identify the shortest and safest route away from the hazard to get there. Everybody should know this. You know that, then you know what you should do. So it's Victoria. So in Gore, we have the St. Rose Modern Secondary. We have the police station. And I don't think I mentioned our police in Victoria. So they will also be involved with essential services, so our schools, our health center, our daycare center. We're also trying to work along with our child development center in Victoria, because what we realize is on the western side is that all our essential service providers are within our hazard zone. Our police station, both in Goa and Victoria, they're in the sea. Our medical station is the same thing. Our medical station, the same thing. Our schools are well within. If they're not too close to the sea, it's because they're close to a river, and that is a concern. So we're using the opportunity to share the message of tsunami preparedness on the Western Corridor. Grand Mall, and that is something that we want to highlight this year. Caribou this year is quite special for us here in Grenada, because the Molyneux land slippage is giving us a unique opportunity. Remember, we have our normal flow, our normal traffic route to the western side. Everything about that has changed when we had to close off that Molyneux road because of the land slippage. Yeah. Now, if there is a tsunami affecting our western corridor, emergency vehicles, emergency personnel vehicles have to come down from the west. Remember where our headquarters for our healthcare, everything, police headquarters in St. George's, our hospital in St. George's, all our main people have to come from the city to come up to the Western Corridor. We now have a very special traffic arrangement up Mount Morris. It was not like this. If something were to happen, how do we get out of the Western Corridor into St. George's, safest route, fastest and safest route, with the Molyneux road closure? Molyneux is not an option.
Okay.
In Grand Mall, we are looking at our fuel farm. We have the 2 terminals there, right? They are exposed, and that is one of the reasons why we include in Grand Mall in there, right? So now that they have a plan, our fuel providers do have a plan, because they exercised also last year with the Molyneux situation. Where does that leave us?
So it will definitely be a test.
It will be a test for us in more ways than one, as we get an opportunity to test a real-life scenario, one that we did not plan for. When Caribou was planned last year, we did not foresee this, because after all, everything was still normal. An emergency. We're working with now an emergency. In addition to if there is another emergency, what do we do? So as I keep saying, Caribou Wave is not so much about evacuation, it's a part of it, but more so, the most important aspect of Caribou Wave is the reach, information, communication, ensuring people know what you have to do. It is the spur of thought. What should I do if there is a tsunami affecting us? And where should I go? So, and what we must say thank you, because we realize that the message is getting home. It is reaching people. This year, when we announced that we'll be doing it on the western side, we had one of our financial institutions using the opportunity to do the evacuation on the day. And I want to use this morning, Blossom, also as an opportunity to encourage our business community. Call us at the office, 4408-390, and we want volunteer. Be a part of the exercise on March 19th. All we ask, if you do, is that you let us know so that we can send an evaluator there, so that there'll be somebody there observing what you would have done, whether or not you have a plan. It's not about having a plan. It's about knowing what to do, and it starts there. Because once you exercise, whether or not you have a plan, when something were to happen, from there, you know that, okay, I need to fix this. I don't have this. So it helps you to identify your weaknesses, also your strengths, and from there you build from it. So we are encouraging the general public, be a part of the exercise. Yes, the Western Corridor is the identified area where we will actually be exercising on March 19th, but it does not limit you if you're outside of the western side. So you're in St. George's and you want to do it, please just let us know so that we can assign an evaluator to come to your business place so that we can observe what is happening and we can help you, we can guide you after this to ensure that you have a plan and that all your members of staff know what they should and shouldn't do. So CaribWave is definitely on come March 19th, so that's next week Thursday. Gore, Victoria, and Grant Mall.
Well, that's a wide area for the exercise. How would you be able to control and evaluate such a wide cross section?
So every and that's why we're asking that you let us know. So the people that we would have contacted in Victoria, Grove, and Grand Mall for evacuation, we know where. For one, so we would have identified your route, where you'll be going. We would have engaged the schools and the other institutions, the police and so. So you know where you're going. On the day, every place that is being evacuated will have an evaluator there. Okay. So what we would have to do is, it's set up in a way where we have an exercise coordinator. That one person, usually we use Mr. Charles in the Ministry of Health, quite experienced in disaster management, the exercises and so. We have different people from our districts, from our people who would have gotten training in the past, a part of the NADMA structure. We have YAC also involved. We have Red Cross involved. We have the police involved. We have fire involved. All our essential service providers, our health centers, everybody involved. So what we would have done, the people who have the experience would have gone extensive training. We have a form at the office that we would give to our evaluators. So you go there, you know what you're looking for. And we would also brief you before you go. So we get to brief you, and what we get to do with people like YAC is use them in different areas. I spoke of YAC having medical training. So YAC would also form part of our medical team. You know what? Whenever we have evacuation and children having to move, something may just happen. Somebody may fall. They can help there. They will be working along with Red Cross to help administer that service if we do. Our evaluators will be observing. How did the children leave the classroom? The teachers, you have to do your head counts when you get to your safe zone. We know we're going at the safe zone. There will be another evaluator there to see how they come, how you would lay them out, what happens there. Because remember, while yes, it's panic, you still have to keep them calm, and it still has to be done in an orderly fashion to avoid additional problems. So it will be quite a spread, but Blossom, what we recognize is there is no way that we can do Victoria and not do Grove, and not do Grand Mall, because the Western Corridor, because of how we are, our geographical makeup, it makes it hard not to. We are all exposed. We are exposed one way or the other. So to say we're going to do Victoria this year, do Grove another year, and do Grand Mall another time is going to be quite hard for us to do. So that's why we chose the spread. But what we would have to do is use our manpower on that day. Every area have what you would call a sub-coordinator, ensuring that everybody is where they should be, doing properly briefed, knowing what you should do to ensure that if this were because remember, I always say this, and I remember when we went to the conference on the tsunami conference that we normally attend, it is very hard and highly unlikely that there will be a tsunami in Grenada, Blossom, and the entire island is not affected because of our size. Remember how tsunamis happen. When the earth moves, the water is displaced, but it goes either way. So more than likely it can envelope the island. Yeah. So saying that it's going to happen in St. Andrew and the other side may not get affected, it's hard. So with the western side as it is, it was better that we try to exercise the entire West and see how best, because if we put under pressure, we have to respond. So better you try to do it, make it as realistic as possible, so you know beforehand what you're working with. What are the parameters you're working with? What are your shortfalls? What are your strengths? And you can build on your strengths. You can work on your weaknesses and, of course, continue to build on your strengths. So that is the reason why for such a wide area, but it's not impossible. We can do it. We can work with it. And we are working towards ensuring that it happen and seeing how seamless as possible we can get the process to happen on the day on March 19th.
Next Thursday. On that note, let's take a break, pay some bills. This is To The Point. Keep it locked. We'll be right back.
The Grenada Airports Authority wishes to advise the general public that the flying of kites within the vicinity of the airport is prohibited. Prohibited areas include, but not limited to, Caliste, Frequency, Fort Judy, St. Paul's, Mount Parnassus, and Mount Morris, and the vicinity of Lauriston Airport in Carriacou. Flying of kites poses serious threat to aircraft safety, as kites can be easily ingested into aircraft engines or become entangled in aircraft propellers, resulting in engine failure with tragic consequences to aircraft passengers and persons on the ground. The Grenada Airports Authority therefore urges the general public to cooperate towards ensuring the safety of aircraft operations into and out of the Maurice Bishop International Airport. The Grenada Airports Authority will be seeking the assistance of the Royal Grenada Police Force in dealing with violators of this notice. Let us all play our part in making this Easter kite flying season a safe one.
On the next Beyond the Headlines, the economic impact of the coronavirus as countries around the world shut down their cities, restrict travel, and cancel events. Observers say the global impact of COVID-19 threatens the ECCB's projected growth of 3.3% for 2020. On Monday, our panel of experts will look at the trickle-down effect on the various sectors, including travel and tourism, agriculture, and food security. The economic impact of the coronavirus on the next Beyond the Headlines with host Odette Campbell. Beyond the Headlines, Monday on GBN at 8:35 p.m.
When you think of Grenville Cooperative Credit Union, what comes to mind? A reliable financial institution that has stood the test of time. Maybe you think about the convenience and quality financial service they provide. Do you think about their readiness to help you retire, achieve your academic goals, build your dream home, buy the piece of land or the elegant car? Or maybe the convenience of their different locations, Jubilee Street in Grenville, the sub-office at Belmont Estate, or the new outlet on Lucas Street in St. George's in the Derek Sylvester building. Maybe you always consider how they're always a phone call away, 442-8602 or 438-4228. They're also online, www.grencu.org. No matter what comes to mind, remember, Grenville Cooperative Credit Union is the best place to save and to borrow, working with you to make your brighter tomorrow.
Part of our social media revamp, the GBN is committed on providing accurate information by just one click through our social media platforms. You can now follow our Facebook page at GBN Television, together with our sister stations Classic FM Grenada and Hot FM Grenada. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Grenada Broadcasting Network. They say one picture is worth 1,000 words. Now you have the opportunity to follow us on Instagram at GBN_news and our newly added WhatsApp feature to our news and current affairs department on telephone number 473-405-3052. GBN, with you, anywhere, everywhere.
Welcome back to The Point. We are speaking with the National Disaster Management Agency as well as representatives of the Youth Emergency Action Committee, Antonio Joseph and Angel Augustine, and of course the Public Relations Officer of the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, Oslin Crosby. At this point, we're going to open the phone lines. 435-2041 is the number to call and ask your questions, voice your concerns, queries, opinions, and if we can please keep them to 3 minutes or less, that would be greatly appreciated. Let's take our first phone call. Good morning.
Good morning, Blossom, and good morning to your guests. I'm concerned about the coronavirus, which is a disaster approaching us. I want to find out if they are going into schools and doing what they should do, what is necessary to be done to educate, inform people as to what to do if and when it comes to Grenada. Another issue, I mean, the lady who is speaking there, Miss Crosby or whatever, I can't remember.
Yes, Crosby.
Yes, she is speaking very fluent about what is to be done and what's not to be done. But what I'm seeing happening in Grenada is that people don't show interest in anything that they are doing. A month or so ago, they had after a couple weeks of promotion, it had a lot of for some election on the western side, and I understand it's only about 6 or 8 people who turned out after all this promotion. So people are not showing interest, and one of the reasons I would like to see is because they have politicized too many of these organizations where people are willing to work. A friend of mine told me she was in one of those organizations in her area, and she was pressured out of it because the majority of the people were NNP supporters. So there will people on the opposition side, NDC. They're willing to work, they're willing to volunteer, but many times they are treated like dogs in organizations. Look at Mr. Charles. Mr. Charles is, as she said, very equipped to deal with disasters. But he's sitting at a desk in the Ministry of Health where he can't even be comfortable. Every half an hour he has to get up and make a walk around to stretch his legs to feel a little comfort so that he don't get sick. He should be in that position there, trying to educate and put plans and programs in place for our protection. But he is at a desk doing nothing. Okay. I don't know if they're employing him now to do something because of Corona and all them kind of thing. But he is at a desk doing nothing, and he's highly qualified. So I need them to stop politicizing those organizations and give people who are willing to volunteer an opportunity to do what is necessary for the development of our country. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Coronavirus.
Yes, thank you, caller. And Blossom and I was just speaking about the same thing as relates to the coronavirus, and that before I leave, we must say something as it relates to that.
She read our minds.
Yes, I believe she has. As it relates to the coronavirus, as is now, NADMA is involved, but through the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health is the lead agency on this stage of the coronavirus. We're now into mitigation. We're actually trying to ensure that, so it's like prevention and spread, preventing spread, because it is not on island. NADMA is involved because, remember, it does show the propensity of becoming a disaster if it were to reach our island and spread, or rather when and spread. So the Ministry of Health is a lead agency on this. So we are working through, I know for sure our Senator Garwe, is working with the Ministry of Health, because the Ministry of Health has a protocol to follow as relates to epidemics, pandemics, all these things as relates to diseases and how they can affect us, because they are hazards. They would fall under our biological hazards. So they are hazards. So the Ministry of Health continues this. So all the public awareness and so the campaigns going into schools, I know that they would have launched the hotline. They've been launching a number of flyers with information, prevent things that you should do, basic hygiene, proper hygiene. We've been speaking about that, and ensure that you cover your mouth. It is a flu-like a virus. So how do you prevent its spread? And I know that our stakeholder, which is health, has now shifted the message from not if, but rather when it reach our shows what we should do. So at this stage, NADMA, we add our voice and endorse the Ministry of Health's, of course, message as it relates to prevention for when it gets here, that we prevent ourselves. As every time you turn on the radio, you hear be it regional news, what are the things that you should do? Everybody would not be affected the same way with the coronavirus. And that is something that we want to do. It is not about panicking. And that is the general or basic information that you give to people as it's a disaster and managing your own disasters, be it at home, on island. You don't panic. Information that is shared should be used to empower us and not make us frightened. No more. If you don't understand, I know that the hotline now is there also to share information, but let us practice basic hygiene. So our hand sanitizer, I know a lot of people always have their sanitizers with them. Encourage our little ones, when you cough, cover. You clean your hands after. And of course, they're encouraging that if you're not well, if you're sick, stay home so that you don't spread whatever it is that you have. As I heard one of the ministers from Jamaica saying this morning on a news story, is that everybody would not have the same. You may have it, and you don't even know, and you can simply treat it with having some juice, some Panadol, or just a higher intake of vitamin C, because it is flu-like. But people who have compromised or health are already compromised, and you know that it's of concern, and then it means that you would have to get more substantiated treatment from our health care, from our doctors and so. So what we're encouraging you to do, please, know what are your conditions. If you have any underlying conditions, you know what you have. So you know that right there you're compromised.
So in the event that a case gets here, what happens? What does NADMA do then?
In the event that a case gets here, or rather when the case gets here, because we know once it reaches, of its spreading is even more likely.
Right.
What will happen is we follow a similar protocol as when there's a hurricane. So it means, therefore, that Health now is our lead agency. They're doing all that they need to do to ensure that everybody's equipped. Our ports of entries, information is out there. If there's a case here, when there's a case here, then you may hear of the NEAC meeting, the National Emergency Advisory Council meeting. Decisions that will need to be taken, of course, will be guided by the advice given from health. From there is when the decisions will be made as relates to how you treat the schools, how you treat workplace. So let us go back to a one that we're more familiar with, and I'll re-emphasize. Let us go back to what we're more familiar with. When there's a hurricane, Met is our lead agency. They advise us, they give us the technical information. From there, the NEAC would meet and the decisions are taken. Now that, as relates to biological, the Ministry of Health is our lead agency. They will advise the National Emergency Advisory Council of the current situation. From there, the National Emergency Advisory Council, decisions will be taken. Rather, its recommendations will be made. It had then have to go to the Prime Minister, who is the overall Minister of National Security. Once it is okayed, then it goes into action. So that's the role that NADMA is playing. So we are working, but no, we're not the lead agency. But when it were to reach here and advise from health, then the necessary actions will be taken where we have to do what we have to do.
Back to the phone lines. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
We are talking about immunity, and we're talking that we have to eat well, and I would underline the word no, so that we could build our immunity. What am I saying? Immunity takes 1 day to build or 2 days to be built in your body. That's what my idea, that's what I'm getting to understand. So if you are eating poorly and now you may be hearing about this virus, then start eating immediately good. Start eating your greens and so on and so on. And then you might become immune to particular diseases in a few minutes or a few seconds. On the other hand, I'm asking myself too, where would we, I don't know, in Grenada we have a lot of rich people, but we have much more poor people that cannot even buy good food, much less when or if this disease or virus spread into Grenada. Where would we get the money to start to eat food good? Or perhaps for we to call the doctor, as they say. Call the doctor. If I'm a doctor and I know you perhaps a custom coming to me and you cannot pay, it's true, I don't know what the pledge was. Do you think that I would come or the doctor would come? He wouldn't tell you he can't come. Or would you think that if you're sick at your home, you call for a vehicle even if you have the money, and then the authorities would come at you? Let me give you an experience I have. A few months back, the medical ship came onto the Grenada to attend people, and people, they took people's name where they got the Ministry of Health afterwards have to call them. Up to this day, I have never heard my name was placed down too. I've never heard anybody called. In fact, at one time I asked your radio station not through you, through a lady that was officiating, as you know. And she said, call Dr. Martin. How do I know Dr. Martin's number? When I call him, he bound to study me. So this is what would likely to happen in Grenada. When we have to prevent the thing from coming in, and as far as I'm concerned, it's likely that we have to stop these, potential ships that are likely to have this virus on them. In fact, when they come in, they have 500 and 600, and the whole ship load is being contaminated.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. In relation to the foods we eat, there's a saying that says, grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Mm-hmm. So maybe we can start to plant instead of waiting to run to the supermarket to buy it.
Yeah. Plant
them. That's all I can say at the moment in relation to that. There's a comment on Ronnie Unwritten. Tell them about us, aka Yak. See all the grinning. It's all they know about Ronnie. How can a young person, join Yak?
Well, they can call the office. Well, you have the number? I think I have the number.
I can't recite the number off head right now, but the office is right on Church Hill next to the cathedral. If you know the
in St. George's.
Yes.
They should be able to reach them through the Catholic churches in the various parishes.
Okay.
Because it's Caritas.
Okay.
It is a Catholic church organization.
Just to state a point, one does not have to be a Catholic, a Catholic to join. We don't discriminate. Anyone can join.
How many members are there in the organization?
Roughly a lot, like
over 50, over 100, over 20?
Over 50.
Definitely over 50.
Okay.
Yeah. And you must be between 15 and 26 to join.
16.
Okay.
Yeah. 16 and 26 to join.
Let's go back to the phone line. Good morning.
Good morning. I am still a bit puzzled as to the approach that we are taking with the coronavirus threat. Based on facts, a lot of people who get infected die. I heard that over half the people in a developed country, Italy to be exact, died as a result of contracting the virus. In one day, over 100 persons died. If in developing countries like Italy, the United States, Great Britain, that have advanced medical facilities, the death toll is so high, why would we think that we are capable of dealing with it when it arrives? No, it is believed that we don't have the virus on island. No. And I'm a bit troubled as to the approach we are taking in preventing the virus from coming to our shores. We know for a fact that it is you don't travel in the air miles, except it's on a human body, as the case might be. It doesn't survive outside of the human body for that long. And so I'm a bit puzzled as to why we still have our ports of entries open. We are having people coming in on cruise ships, on yachts, and so on freely at different ports, not just in Georges. We have several other ports where cruise ships, yachts, and so on, people come into the island. And that is where the potential for bringing in the virus lies. So if we're serious about keeping this virus out, why are we so open? There are countries that have closed the ports because they realize the seriousness of it, but we seem to just feel we could let it come, and when it comes, we could deal with it. And I think we're being naive to think that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Any responses? What I can say is that the Ministry of Health has its protocol in place to screen for elevated temperatures and so on and so forth. And they are working off of the advice from CAFA and the WHO and so on and so forth. That's all I can say. Hopefully, maybe Wednesday, God's willing, when we facilitate a representative of the government. I'm not sure who would show up, but if it's the Ministry of Health, we can further ask these questions. For now, this morning, remember we're dealing with NADMA. Yes, it's part of their their plans and so on and so forth. But when it comes to these deep or in-depth information, we would seek from the Ministry of Health, who is the lead agency dealing with our fight against the coronavirus in Grenada. Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, and good morning to your guests.
Morning.
Now, your previous caller raised some very serious issues. I don't know if it come through your news, because I didn't listen to the program this morning, that the World Bank have now pledged how much, a few $1 billion to aid in the fight against the coronavirus. That is now. What had we been doing over the years as it relates to preparing for any situation? I don't think we are ready individually. And that's a question your previous caller raised. The money aspect that we do not like to talk about. The money, the ability to care ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to get the needs, to feed ourselves properly long before this disaster comes. And it is a wake-up call for people who doesn't like to hear this. But our leaders, and I'm not talking political leaders, I'm talking business people also, is a wake-up call for them to tell them how they have to manage the economy, the survival of the citizens. And I hope they are taking very, very serious notes, because we are in trouble.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, we're speaking disaster. The lead agency to deal with coronavirus is the Ministry of Health. They are not here this morning. This morning we have NADMA and representatives of the Youth Emergency Action Committee. We're dealing with quote-unquote disaster. Yes, NADMA has a role to play in our fight, but again, the lead agency is the Ministry of Health. Let's take this phone call. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. I'm just calling to find out what the government have in place for the people. Seeing that China is one of the largest food exporters, and we will be shortage of food start already. What does the government have in place for its people? He's the father of the nation.
Thank you very much, caller. The government is not here to answer that question. Wednesday, God willing, is when we facilitate representatives of the government. So let's see who comes forward to the point on Wednesday, God willing, and then we may be able to get answers to the question that you're asking. Last one, if I should take this call. Let's see. Let's hope for the best. Good morning.
Good morning, Sister Blossom.
How are you? Miss Jacob, I'm good.
I'm fine. Bonjour, Lord, Sister Blossom. Not the government that to take care of us, no. We have to take care of our own self. I have 72 years of age, as I telling all you. This kind of virus is going on since in Uncle Gary days. And you know, you have to learn to take care of yourself for yourself. Buy things, look how you're eating, look how you're going about with people, and so on. What? When you see I going about, when you see I traveling with people, so that's how I grew up. When you hear I traveling and they have any bus store or food this or food that, I working with everything. Every living thing you could think about. As I don't tell all you already, it's only the pill I'm working with. But I tell all you, I'm taking care of my own self. We have to learn to take care of ourselves.
Thank you very much, Miss Jacob. Thank you so much. Have a good day. All right, that'll do it for the phone calls this morning, because we steered away from what we started talking about this morning. So let me try and get back into the conversation. Let's go back to Yak. As it relates to regional experience, how have you been able to learn from your regional peers and counterparts in dealing with disasters from a young person's perspective?
So we have not had I had the opportunity, but I went to Carriacou, but it was on to just be assistant, first aid instructor, just to assist an instructor in doing first aid
training for
daycare in Carriacou.
Okay.
But those who have traveled to the other Caribbean islands to help in relief, They said it was a very good experience because I have been in contact with a lot of them who has been traveling in and out of the other Caribbean islands, and they hope to go back soon because they have been asking to go to Bahamas. They want to go and help relieve because they have experienced it. They want to go back again. So hopefully, if they are going to Bahamas, if we are funded to go to Bahamas, so we should be there as well. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
So you're able to assist?
Yes.
In disaster management and things like that.
Yes, they can. They did get some real experience. I remember after Irma in Dominica a couple of years ago. That was in 2017.
Oh, let's Google it. Go ahead.
I believe it was 17.
17.
They did get to go to Dominica and assist with relief. So they got real life experience, going in and having to live in the camps and live inside of their sleep bags and not the best of no hotels, because having to live in schools and be able to assist, hear the stories from people affected by the storm, assisting them, the empathy. I think those things are the part that touch most, because you realize that you can help someone, and I know that they would have gotten some experience there, in addition to, of course, the more formal setting where they go off to the conferences and so to represent Grenada, be ambassadors, be to do presentations. I remember one of them would have gone off to the same CDM conference in one of the countries, not last year, the year before, I believe, and they came in for high commendation from the organizing team.
Nice.
Very, very well versed. And the thing is, the overall objective of this is to prepare them so that when they come back, that they can be able to build an army of other young people like themselves that can be true messengers or ambassadors of the disaster management message, so that we're ensuring that we have a tomorrow in this whole field, that it's safe, we know what we should do, and of course we have the vibrant, enthusiastic, because we know that they're full of ideas, very creative. They come with, it's a whole different perspective from our young people. They're radical, but they're radical once, of course, guided. We can make good out of those very radical ideas that they would come up with, and the world is changing. So having our young people involved in disaster management project, YAC has certainly been making a difference in Grenada as to what they have been doing.
I agree. Thank you so much for passing through. We've quickly run out of time. I'm bouncing these days. I'm shaking hands. In case all I had
it doesn't get into your hand?
And they even tell me to bounce in his elbow, but you're too far. You're too far for the elbow.
All right.
So we want to thank Oslin, Antonio, and Angel for passing through this morning. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Brenda is up next with Mid-Morning Buzz. That's the end of my time today. I'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow, God willing. Keep it locked to Classic and the GBN. Have a blessed, what today is? Monday. Yes, a blessed and fantastic Monday. Have a good one, everybody.
On GBN. All the stories, from politics to industrial unrest. Tourism,